evening, everyone. It's a beautiful Wednesday here in Queen City, Nevis, and it's the On the Mark program on your radio. Once again, let me say good evening to all of the fine folks who are in tune to the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse at this time. And of course, I'm sure you realize that the regular host is not here this evening. The Honorable Mark Brantley is not here this evening. So you have me again this evening. You had me last week, and you have to contend with me for the next 2 hours. I am the Honorable Evelyn, and I'll be hosting this evening on behalf of the Premier, the regular host of On the Mark. And so it's a beautiful Wednesday. It is August the 20th, 2025. And almost every time I come here, I keep saying and I keep asking, where are the days and the weeks and the months going? Unbelievable. It's now the 20th of August, and time is going by so very quickly. It's almost December. It's almost Christmas again, and it's almost New Year again. All right, so good evening to all the fine folks who are in tune to the Eastern Caribbean Powerhouse, those of you in St. Kitts and Nevis, those who are in tune in the Eastern Caribbean, and of course those in the diaspora. It's always such a pleasure and a privilege to have you in tune to Vaughan Radio, and of course to On the Mark. We know that On the Mark is a talk show that is aired every Wednesday from 8 until 10 o'clock, with a rebroadcast on a Thursday from 1 until 3. Of course, we know that this radio show is probably one of the most popular in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the region. And I know lots of folks, those of you who are in places like England, you stay up very late to ensure that you get a piece of the On the Mark program. Of course, we know that this is a talk show, and this is a show that we also encourage persons who are listening to call in. This evening, I have two guests with me. I'm so happy. I'm always happy when I have guests. So I believe my guests will be doing most of the talking tonight. And so I'm very, very happy about that. And so I want to say how pleased I am that I do have company this evening here in the studios of the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse. So once again, it is my privilege and my pleasure to welcome all of you who are in tune, those of you who are logged on, those of you who are logged on via Facebook. We are just pleased to have you as a part of the On the Mark program for this evening. Of course, it's a beautiful evening, and we have to be thankful that only recently or over the weekend we had the passage of Tropical Storm Erin, which is now Hurricane Erin. Thank God it veered away from us to the north of us, and so we're very happy. We got some good showers, which were very much needed. The place was getting very dry again, and so we were happy that Erin would have gone off to the north of us. Understand that it developed very rapidly. And so we are happy that it stayed away from most of the islands, and we are so happy, and we are thanking God that we were spared, and we just got some rain, thankfully. All right, I understand that there are some more systems developing out there. Of course, we are getting close to the peak, the statistical peak of the hurricane season, and we have to be very watchful. We have to be very mindful. Let us all ensure that we stay tuned to the radio and stay tuned to all of the social media sites to ensure that whatever is happening out there in the Atlantic or wherever, that we keep abreast and we do not take anything for granted. Of course, at the top of the hour, we normally do a little housekeeping matters just before we get to our guests, and so we're going to do that just now. Of course, we normally start by saying birthday greetings and shouting out all of the folks who are celebrating birthday or anniversaries today. Whatever you're celebrating, we are happy that you're celebrating, and we are celebrating with you. And so I want to say birthday greetings to all who are celebrating birthdays today. Special birthday greetings to my very, very good friend Pam Brooks Stapleton. Some of us know her as Pam Brooks, some of us know her as Pam Stapleton. Pam, you're celebrating your birthday today. Hope you had a wonderful day. I'm sure you'd have been showered with love from your loving family and all of your loving friends. And do continue to enjoy what's left of your special day. And all who are celebrating today, if you celebrated earlier this week, if you're going to be celebrating later this week, we want to shout you out and say happy birthday to you. As I've been saying all along these days, when you have a celebration, when you have a birthday, when you have an anniversary, you need to celebrate in style. The way things are going now, do not let anyone stop you. Celebrate the way you want to celebrate. And of course, wedding, special wedding anniversary greetings going out to our regular host, the Honorable Mark Brantley and Mrs. Brantley. They're celebrating their wedding anniversary today. And I know that I'm sure they would have had a wonderful day. I know the Premier is a little bit under the weather, but I'm sure he would have had a good day nonetheless. Sharon would have made sure of that. And so wedding anniversary greetings to the Honorable Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley and Mrs. Brantley, from all of us here at the Eastern Caribbean Spa House, from the On the Mark program, and of course from all of us on the island of Nevis and St. Kitts. Do enjoy what's left of your anniversary. And anyone else who might be celebrating an anniversary today, whatever the celebration is, they're happy for you and celebrate in style. Those of you who are not feeling well, we want to say good evening to you as well. Trust that you're going to feel better soon. All of you who are not feeling well, whether you're at home, whether you're in the hospital, we greet you and we trust that you're going to be feeling much, much better. We greet those who are in the homes as well, in the Flamboyant home, those in the St. George and St. John Senior Citizens home, and of course those who are taking such wonderful care of you while you are there as well. We greet those of you as well. And of course those who are in the bereaved column, wherever you are, if you're bereaved at this time, we say condolences to you, and we trust that God will continue to keep you in his embrace as you go through this difficult time. Of course, we know that it's never easy to lose someone, so those of you who are bereaved, if you're in the bereaved column, we greet you as well, and just hold on to God's unchanging hands. And so now we've gotten the little housekeeping matters out of the way. As I said, I do have two guests with me this evening. Very, very privileged. It's not very often that I have two persons that I can call doctors. So I have two doctors in the house tonight, right? And so I'm so very happy to have them with me, and they're going to be here sharing with us. And a little later on, you'll get an opportunity, those of you who are out there, if you wish to call in and be a part of the program, you'll get an opportunity a little later on to call in as well. And so I am privileged, and so I'm going to let the two doctors introduce themselves. I'm going to start with the lady first, and then the gentleman will introduce himself.
Good evening, Honorable Eric Evelyn, and good evening to our brothers and sisters around the Federation who are listening to us tonight. It's an incredible blessing to be here today, to be here in this place again. We were here many years ago with my husband, and well, we are just blessed to be here again. Well, my name is Jessica Bardales Essien, and Nevis is home for me.
Fantastic. All right.
This is what I call home. We have been living here for close to 20 years.
Yes.
So I have my two children here. So this is what I call home. This is what where they feel they have their roots. And at the beginning of my life here, I used to say I was a Nevisian by heart. Good. But I can say that now that I am a Nevisian because I have a passport for
Great.
the Federation. So, and more than the passport, I have my heart here.
Fantastic.
That's where we did our service.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we spend the most beautiful time in our lives here. So this is home.
Well, I can say welcome home.
Well, thank you.
All right.
It's so good to hear that.
Fantastic. Welcome home. So you heard it there from Dr. Jessica Bardales Essien. And now we will hear the other doctor introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. My name's John Essien. Most people would have probably heard of me or know a little bit about me. It's Dr. Essien. Came to the Federation about, that would have been sometime 2003, actually. And just fell in love with the place from day one. And we're, as my wife mentioned, we're so blessed to be back and be in this position where we can share with everyone a little of our own personal experiences, and of course, some also do something that we've been doing over the years, which is give simplified medical advice and share from our experiences things that can help people also in their journeys.
Fantastic. So that's And I can say welcome home, Dr. Essien.
Thank you.
All right, so I can say welcome home to Dr. Jessica Vidales, Essien, and Dr. Essien, welcome home as well. We are indeed happy to have you both here on the island of Nevis, and we're extra happy, we're extra privileged to have you here in the studios of the Eastern Caribbean Spa House, Von Radio, where only the best will do, and it's even a more privilege to have you on the On the Mark program, of course, where we will be sharing. Okay, so just before I go to Dr. Essie, and I was also I did not mention wedding anniversary greetings to going out to Roger and Rasmin Fifield. I think their wedding anniversary was yesterday. So Roger and Rasmin, I believe you all are still celebrating. So continue to celebrate. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Continue to celebrate. And I know both of you will continue to live in love and harmony. So wedding anniversary greetings belated going out to Roger and Rasmin Fifield. Continue to enjoy. And so as Dr. Essien just mentioned, you all are here and you all are here to share some personal experiences and so on. It's not very easy sometimes to share personal experiences, right? And so that is why it's such an extra privilege to have both of you here this evening. Dr. Jessica Vidales, you said you were here, you were practicing here. Dr. Essien was here, you all had to leave. Why did you have to leave?
Well, I want to start saying that I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter who happened to be a gynecologist,
Yes.
but also who happened to be a cancer patient. My journey started in 2012, so I usually say jokingly that my story started with the re-election of Barack Obama in 2012.
Okay.
So I spent all night looking at the TV, and the same day, I just remember vividly, my husband came from upstairs, and I saw in his face that something was not right. And it was very early in the morning, so he gave me the news that I just did a mammogram and it was suspicious of cancer. So that was the 10th of November 2012, and just some days after I traveled to Cuba. That's where I studied there. So after just some days, after a biopsy, so the diagnosis of cancer came into my world. So, and my journey started there. So at that time, we didn't have chemotherapy services on the island.
Yes.
So I did my first chemotherapy in Cuba. But after my heart couldn't be far from my children, who were 8 and 6 at that time. And that was the first time, Eric, that was far from them. So I remember, because the idea was that I will stay there for the 8 chemotherapies, that there were 1 chemotherapy per month. 8 months. My heart couldn't take it. And it was close to Christmas.
Wow.
So my husband, being the only gynecologist in the island for a long time, he needed to be back home. So I told him, no way, I'm not staying here. So I need to go. And even with stitches, it's good to have a doctor next to me.
Of course.
So I traveled back, and I contacted Dr. Errol Hopti, who I met here during a presentation. But I need to travel to St. Thomas for 2 chemotherapies, extra chemotherapies, until she came to Nevis and offered her service here in Nevis across the hospital. So with 2 other warriors, Ruby Chapman and Sharon Mills,
Yes.
we started. We were the first patients, and Selma also, a worker at the hospital. We were the first 4 patients for Dr. Hopti across the hospital when she just started with chairs there. But I'm so happy. I'm always be grateful for her service to our federation, because people from St. Kitts were coming too. So that was in 2012, Eric. But after just a year, so after I finished all the chemotherapies, like any other patient, I thought that's the end. But unfortunately, for many of us cancer patients, that's not the end. It's just the beginning sometimes. I don't want to scare people. That's never my intention. For many, many persons, just taking a lump, and I keep saying this, 80% of cases when we find a lump is not cancerous.
Okay.
80%. But in 20%, and sometimes less, it's cancer. And in some cases, it's invasive. Unfortunately, that's my case. And my case is also genetic. Only 5 to 10% it can be given from a grandmother to a mother, and maybe miss a generation, but I am in that group.
So you're saying your mother and your grandmother, they had cancer, breast cancer
They have
as well?
a genetic mutation.
Okay.
I didn't know until recently because I did a lot of genetic tests. In Sweden, where I am now, there is a terminology for patients that, like me, they call it SPET patient. So patients who are so involved in their own treatment, but as a doctor, always my goal, and I just need to learn. When I was here, I was always researching what we have available here, what we have available in Cuba. At that time, we sent some of our patients to Cuba when we couldn't, because we didn't have chemotherapy at that time. Up to now, as far as I know, there are not radiotherapy treatment, and brachytherapy, that's something for cervical cancer.
Right.
So that need to introduce in the female genitals. So there are some stuff that, being a small country, we cannot have because the population is small and it's very expensive. So I sent some of my patients to Cuba, not knowing that in 2012 I also need to be traveling, Eric.
Wow.
And that funny enough, and I can say it publicly because she allowed me to do the late Sharon Mills.
Yes.
I sent her to a place where we found with Cindy Freeman that also allowed me to say things publicly. She went first. I went with her, and we tried to find places where other patients can come. Oh, thanks to Cindy Freeman, we found that place where the patients can stay and the facilities. After other patients went there, and Sharon Mills went maybe 10 days before I went.
Okay.
And imagine, and I went to the same house where she was staying there.
Wow.
And when she saw me, she thought that I was there
Just a visit.
maybe for a conference or something. But I was there as a patient. They couldn't believe that, and that's where I met Ruby Chapman also.
Okay.
Well, I was already in St. Thomas. After my journey, I did my other chemotherapy here, and after I thought I was okay, but just a year after, when we have breast cancer and is estrogen positive, the female hormone positive, we need to be taking tablets to prevent it. But sometimes those tablets give a lot of side effects.
Okay.
And one of the side effects was heavy bleeding and anemia.
Wow.
And I had it. I was bleeding a lot. So I told my husband, I don't need my womb anymore because I have my 2 children already.
Right.
I was 38, so we discussed it, and I decided to take out my womb and take out my ovaries to decrease the female hormone
Right.
that was feeding the cancer. So that was in 2014. And after I was stable, I went back to work. And in 2017, I was going to do my checkups in Puerto Rico. I got 2 positive lymphatic nodes in the supraclavicular area, in the collarbone in Puerto Rico, and I was devastated. And they told me that I need 25 radiotherapies. And that was very expensive, Eric. At that point, I thought I didn't have health insurance because British American collapsed.
Yes.
And I lost my insurance. But thank God, my husband, I didn't know that he was paying for another insurance, and that helped us tremendously. Because if cancer is it troubles us physically, emotionally, the economical burden is terrible for anybody. It doesn't matter what type of job do you do. We are talking about a lot of zeros.
Yes.
So that radiotherapy, and of course the insurance doesn't cover everything. So that's the story here. And after I just went to visit my family in Sweden. I have my 2 sisters who live there. And I always wanted to do courses and things. In 2018, I went with my 2 children, and just 3 months after, some positivity was found in my armpit. And the story started all over again there. And from 2018 to now, I has been in constant treatment. So when I learned that, I couldn't come back home because I need to be on the treatment all the time. It's like the cancer came with a lot of force, and after Corona came, so I couldn't come back. And unfortunately, in 2023, they told me that it had progressed. So now, I usually say they said because my Lord says something else.
You're right.
That I have metastasis in the brain. Imagine that really put me down. I understand now what depression is. People always ask me, Eric, how are you so brave? I'm not that brave. I'm a human being.
Of course.
I get sad sometimes.
We
I
all
cry.
do.
Yes, when nobody sees me. But thank God I have my family who support me, and I have my kids. And life needs to keep going.
Of course.
So they are tiny. That's what I keep telling everybody. We need to know our body, because nobody knows our body better than ourselves. Or my daughter is always, she's my my best nurse, my best caregiver, and she's always looking at me. Just recently she found a tiny spot, and we're gonna get checked in my skin. But I noticed that I was a bit dizzy, so that's when I asked for a brain scan, and there are tiny spots. So I got radiation therapy.
Okay.
Maybe 8 months ago, and the last one maybe 2-3 months ago. There are some little spots, but I'm hopeful that they are working and they will stop. And what I left to answer your question is, because I need to be in constant treatment about the radiation, I'm having chemotherapy 2 consecutive weeks, rest 1 week, and again. But I want to tell whoever is listening and whoever is seeing us that this is what a stage 4 patient look like. We don't need to be sad all the time, because I'm a happy person. I'm 99.9% of the time very positive, and I'm alive.
Good.
And I'm living.
Right.
A long answer to your question.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. That we are here to share, and I realize that you're very open with sharing. Now, when you got diagnosed, at what stage was that?
Yeah, I got diagnosed at stage 2.
At stage 2.
Because
and you're now at stage 4.
Stage 4, that is the last stage.
Okay, Dr. Essien,
Yeah.
Dr. Badalis Essien said that you're the one who broke the news to her, that
Yeah.
something was wrong. You as a doctor and as a husband, how did you feel when you realize that, listen, it's possible that my wife has breast cancer? How did you manage to break that news to her?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the most difficult experiences for me. But again, I think probably our training as physicians probably helped to some degree. That we know that this was we had a job to do, we had something to do, and we had to, think ahead. Not be stuck at that stage of, okay, fine, this thing is positive, but we have to think of what next, what can we do next, what's available to us, and that's essentially what we had to deal with, and I had to give her that unfortunate news that the results came back showing, high suspicion of.
Did you delay in any way in giving her the news, or you said, I have to tell her?
I had to think what moment, because as she described, she was so joyful about this election, the U.S. election results, and I said, okay, I have to break it to her anyway, because regardless of the situation, this was more important. We have to deal with this, and
So when you broke the news to her, how did she take it?
I think because she already had, she herself was already suspecting, which is. It's a common thing, even with patients that we deal with directly, that a lot of patients kind of have a suspicion in the back of the mind that, okay, this thing might come back, not the way we want it. And because of what medical knowledge that we have about these things, so I think that kind of softened the blow for her at that stage. But obviously having two small children, it just upends your world. So you have to find out or figure out what you want to do. You have to do a lot of planning that you didn't plan for,
right?
In a rather quick fashion, and try and get ahead with it.
Wow, I know that must have been very, very, very challenging. Now, Dr. Balades, you said that since 2012 you've been getting treatment. So that's over 12 years. You've been getting treatment continuously for over 12 years. I know some persons react differently to the treatment. I've heard some persons say when they get chemotherapy treatment, they vomit. There are a lot of reactions. How have you been able to cope with treatment for all these years? How does it, when you're getting treatment, how does it make you feel? Do you react badly to the treatment like everybody else?
Yeah, of course. And
definitely.
Wow. And if I am to write all the side effects, I will use I don't know how many papers, because as you said, I have been having treatment on and off. There was a gap of almost 3 years that I didn't have any, 2.5, 3, and I was so happy. But I was still taking tablets to prevent. That's the one that gave me bleeding. But at the beginning, the first, what people call it the red devil, the first one that almost everybody have, and
it's a drip.
There's a drip, is IV infusion.
Yes.
So I'm talking because just being this short 2 weeks here in Ibis, I learned some of my patients that are actually facing this is the beginning of their journey. So I'm really thankful to be using this opportunity to tell them what to expect and what not to expect. I just, being an obstetrician and gynecologist, just dealing with pregnant ladies and deliveries, I was expecting my own delivery to be really painful. I was expecting the worst, but it was not that bad when I had my daughter first. And I think that what helped me, I usually prepare for the worst, so I will not, I will try my little body to face what comes. At the beginning, that red devil gave me a lot of nausea, vomiting, but we were prepared for that. So I will talk to my doctors, because I'm just a patient. So I will tell them, can I use this? And somebody was asking us in one of the sharing we were doing at church, being a doctor helped you. it didn't help me not to get cancer, because
Right.
sometimes people ask me, how can you get cancer? You're a doctor.
But
If
doctors
there
get sick as well.
yes, there
Yeah.
is, if there is something that doesn't discriminate our diseases, and especially cancer. So I'm
Right.
just a woman like any other. So, but what help us being doctors is like to prepare, like to read a lot, to have material, and that's also we help. So at that time I have nausea, vomiting, radiations. When I was in Puerto Rico, I saw a lot of other patients having burns
radiation
in the skin,
burns.
radiation burns. But I usually, and bad, so they need to stop the radiation therapy because it's radiation. But I was saying also that my dear friend, we call him Mama John, she raised my children, my pastor's wife, John Roberts, she prepared aloe, an
Yes,
aloe thing
yes.
for me, locally made, and I went with my aloe, and after radiation I will put a lot of aloe, and I take a shower and go without anything, because you cannot have anything when you go to radiation. But I think that prevented it. So, and now years after, sometime I get peripheric neuropathy, so that is tingling in my fingers, pain in the end of my fingertips. Sometimes, Eric, even just washing my hands will hurt, and so it's hypersensitivity. So that's why my dear daughter do most of the washing and the cleaning, and so I cannot go into bags, and so I need to think what I'm going to do. And lately, those chemotherapies that I'm having, and again, I think there is beauty in sharing, and I don't mind. So usually give me diarrhea. And of course, being a young woman, it's socially, it troubles my social life sometimes, so I need to prepare. So when I do my outings, I need to plan one event at a time.
Right.
I need to take tablets, loperamide, Edimor, just to prevent the diarrheas. Because even if I don't do that, I got some embarrassing situations sometimes. And my daughter, thank God she was next to me, so she need to go to a store to buy clothes for me. So sometimes I get urinary incontinence, so I need to be when it's active, because I don't have any estrogen. My cancer fit with estrogen, and estrogen is what really make our genitals to be
firm.
firm and moist,
function
and so. And not having estrogen, it usually gives me more urinary tract infection. So when I have that, sometimes I have urinary incontinence. So when I feel that I have it, I need to use pads. So again, I'm saying it because my main thing is to normalize. I need to accept my new me. And it's a blessing to be alive. Every day is a blessing. When I can cook, even if Josie and Jonathan need to clean after, I need to wash after, I'm happy to cook. I'm happy to sew. I love to sew.
Yes.
But I need to know what I cannot do, and I cannot overdo. I need to know my limitation, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. It's not that I'm happy. Cancer is not an easy thing. It's not a pretty thing. Some people say, I'm happy that I have cancer, because I'm not happy. I wish I didn't have it.
I don't think anybody could be happy when they have cancer.
Yeah, but some people said it. Eric, some people say, yeah, but in spite of that, what makes me happy? That I have more blessings, because life is a balance of ugly things and beautiful things.
That's right.
But I believe our Lord give us more beautiful things to celebrate, and that's what I have. That's what I'm happy in spite of.
Good. I am very happy that you decided to come here on the Mark, which is widely listened to, because the information, you're very open, which I'm happy for. The information that you're giving could help a lot of persons out there if they become cancerous, if they're diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I'm happy that you're so open and you decided to come here on the program this evening, so at least you can prepare some persons who may get breast cancer and what can happen to them. Now, these treatments that you have to go to all the time, I am sure, do you have to prepare psychologically every time you have to go to a session?
I think I can answer that for
Yes,
you.
doctor.
She definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably one of the hardest thing a human being can face, knowing that, number one, it's a treatment you do need.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And
but
it is essential.
it's essential.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But it just wears you down, and it's not easy to get the encouragement for oneself, because one is, she's a grown-up. She knows she has to do it. She has to encourage herself. The only thing those of us around her could do is suggest to her that we could go along with her, keep her company, just have somebody there with her, nothing more.
Prepare
Right.
soup.
Exactly.
I
Prepare
love
for
his
when
soup.
when she comes after
Right.
comes home from her sessions. But there have been many days that she would literally break down and say, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm just tired. And we'll just say, okay, fine, do you want us to call and reschedule and do something, give you another break? And but at the end she will gather her strength and go forward with it. It is not easy. It's not because one would think that, okay, it's just taking some medication.
Yes.
But the medication has some very serious
Side effects.
on the body, and not only that, but also on the mind, because these are the body, spirit, everything is one. All right. So if one cannot be isolated from the other, whatever effect you're going to have on the physical body is going to end up also affecting the mind, and that's how she, for example, would suffer from all these nerve disorders from the medication itself. And for example, there was a period of time she couldn't. She lost ability to walk properly.
Wow.
Because of that, had to go through rehab, and so and during the same rehab, during the time where she was getting rehab, to learn to walk again, she still had to go through chemo. So it's tough. It's a very, very mentally tough thing to go through. And of course, the oncologists, it's not just one doctor. We're talking about an entire team, because the patient is dealt with holistically.
Right.
So they have on staff everybody from a psychotherapist and counselors and physiotherapists and the such. So you try to offer all the possible services to the patients to get them stronger again, because the treatment would knock you down. You have to get back your strength so that you could go again for the next session and things like that. So on the mental side, that is a very tough thing to go through.
As a matter of fact, I was just about to ask you about the mental health side, because I know that could be extremely tough. So I assume that on the team there's someone there who deals with mental health.
Exactly. It's absolutely necessary, not only for cancer, but for any long-term chronic diseases. Chronic disease, you do need some connection with somebody trained in that area to help you along, because we become affected not only. Let's take, for example, an adult. I'll stick to the adult. You'll be off work, something you were used to doing,
Yes.
because you're providing for at least somebody else, if not for yourself only, but somebody else is there, if
Right.
not a family. And of course, you are not engaging in that socially essential part of life,
Right.
which is work and socializing and things of that nature. So that is one. And then the second part is that you are now thinking, obviously, of your own mortality. And not everybody reacts the same way when it comes to those things. People can get very frightened. People can't function, can't think straight. it's difficult, and you also have your other social life obligations, either with your partner, your family. All of a sudden, you can't share, lunches with anybody. You can't stand the smell of food. You can't stand, just what we consider normal noise level.
Right.
And that becomes too much. So, not to talk of going out to, let's say, a concert. You used to enjoy nice music before, nice, the social gathering, but you can't go any longer because all these things, your body has changed, either due to direct side effects of the treatments, or because of where the cancer is located, and as such. And it is very difficult. It is not. That one of the messages we want to give people is that just to remember that cancer is a chronic disease like any other chronic disease that you can think of. All right, that's what it is.
All right.
It has its peaks. All right, and for the most part, we meaning the medical science and so on, have some means of mitigating and decreasing the most severe effects of the diseases, and hopefully prolong the person's life, where if without treatment the person's life would have been definitely cut short, but prolong the person's life. But we also want to have the ability of giving the person some modicum of quality,
yes,
to
normalcy
of the life that they're living.
Right.
So it affects the person in the entirety of what you can consider a person. So not just the physical aspect.
Okay. Now, Dr. Essien, Dr. Badalis, you're very fortunate that you have a husband and you have children who are very supportive. And so it brings me to my next question, Dr. Essien. How important is family? How important is that family support? Because I'm sure there are a lot of breast cancer patients out there who are single mothers, who may not have that family structure around them to give them that necessary support. How important is that support from the family?
Yeah, it's vital. Without it, it's there are persons who, by nature of their circumstances in life, might just be single. They don't have anybody, no siblings, no parents, nothing. All right, and there are persons with large number of siblings,
Yes.
extended family, and still are alone.
Precisely.
Okay, so and this is where the social network steps in. What society can provide, and this is where the importance of having all the different social groups who look out for such people, regardless of the disease, or maybe very specific to a particular disease, and so on. This is where they come in, and absolutely necessary, because we are social beings.
Yes.
All right, and we were never created to be alone. All right, so
No man is an island.
no, absolutely not. So we need other people involved, in our care. All right, and because yes, this is something very peculiar to us of African descent.
Yes.
All right, that we think that we can do everything, on our own. We don't need anybody. As long as we got the strength, we're going to do it. But unfortunately, it is not so. And we have to recognize that we put ourselves under huge strain just trying to do good, because everybody wants to do good.
Yes.
For themselves, for the families, for the siblings, and so on. But we do take on a lot. And when a disease such as cancer befalls one, it makes that close to impossible to accomplish. And of course, after that comes all the feeling of not being useful. You're not doing good. You're not complying with your obligations and stuff like that. So it affects you very, very negatively. This is where we need people, those who are close. They don't have to be friends. but people just care for you as a person and say, okay, what can we do for you? Is there something we can fetch you? Do you need a ride somewhere? When can I do this for you?
Can I accompany you to the treatment?
Exactly. That is it. And and it is something that is lacking sometimes in these modern day societies that we live in, and where we are more egocentric than ever, and everything
and
is all,
individualistic.
everything is all me, and we forget that we were created to be very social and interdependent. Okay, not saying that you become a burden to somebody, but whatever you're doing is useful to somebody else. Right? So that is something we should always encourage in society. And of course, government is an essential part of any structured society, and also has the responsibility of making sure if that certain things, as part of the general social safety net, is also available. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from government, but government can facilitate other people and groups who want to do these things to, engage in them. And there are lots of NGOs around.
Yes.
And they're doing very, very good work. It's not easy. We're not talking just financial. The financial, like Jessica mentioned at the beginning, this cancer journey is catastrophic when it comes to finances. All right, and no matter how much you think you saved up, that's going to go in one day.
Wow.
Seriously, one day. All right. So, and we could take an example of somebody whose situation was known publicly. The former, the founder. One of the founders and former CEO of the Apple company, Steve Jobs. All the wealth in the world, he couldn't save it.
Precisely.
He did all he could. All right. So these are things that we have to take into consideration, and hopefully, modify our mindsets and slow down a little bit. This world is very, is very focused on just the ego, and that cannot work. So. Just want to give a shout out to everybody that chips in one form or the other, that to help people in need, just generally people in need, but also those within the cancer community who are doing close to the impossible just to make sure people can get to the next treatment. Because we're not talking of, even though you have, let's say, 25 radiotherapy sessions, but just getting one session done can be a huge task, because you're talking finances. And if you're in a small place like St. Kitts Nevis, with all the testing that has to be done in between sessions and so on, it might mean starting treatment here, but then having to travel to some other place just to get certain very highly specialized scans, for example, and which we are not looking for it to be available here. That wouldn't make sense. But,
right.
But people necessarily would have to travel. It means accommodation. It means all sorts of things. And these are people under treatment who may be vomiting, peeing up themselves, need a bathroom as soon as possible. So you can imagine on a plane, and I could share this with you because Jessica and I were on a trip, and we had just boarded the plane. And they were telling us buckle up because we were about to take off and so on. And she had to use the bathroom. Right. She just had to. With all the air steward was up in arms. I said, no, it's either she does it here or you let her go into the bathroom. Precisely. Regardless of. So that was it. But it's because of these things. So we have to think a little bit. And those who are caregivers, either intentional or unintentional caregivers, because that's how the card that life deals with you. Sometimes you never choose to be a caregiver. All right. So, but some people might be in it because of training, but those are few and far in between. The majority of people are unintended caregivers.
Yes,
it's what life dealt with. with the card life dealt them. So they now have to find a way of training themselves with their patient, whether relative or whoever it is, but with the patient in focus now to see what they could do, and it can be a little too much.
Yes.
All right. So it's not just adapting, your daily life situation to that patient, because somebody has to take care of the patient, somebody has to cook most of the time, somebody has to help with the cleaning most of the time. If we were people who were never used to doing those things, it's going to be horrible. You can't just pay your way through, because there's no amount of money sometimes that can do that for you.
Can I add something?
Sure, absolutely.
We call it the other patient, and sometimes I worry, because also being a doctor, I read a lot about it. And I worry a lot for as you said, 13 years. Is that what my journey has been? I worry about my kids. I worry about him, because sometimes it's my body, so I know what I'm feeling. Some days I feel completely okay.
Yes.
But they may be thinking that I don't feel good. And it hurts me sometimes when my kids keep asking me, "Are you okay, Mama? You need this, you need that." And some days I would like them not to think about. I don't know how much is in their mind. I met some days ago a very loving daughter. Her mom is just starting this journey.
Yes.
And it reminded me to my children. They were 6 and 8, and at that age they were cancer aware. They were always giving me water. When my husband said when I was not able to walk recently, my son is now very strong swimmer, so he's always behind me, trying to be sure that I'm not going to fall.
Right.
And sometimes I think, because it's my body, I'm okay, but maybe they don't think I'm okay. So I keep telling him and telling the other patient, you don't know how long the patient will live, so take it easy. Don't drain yourself. So I tell also my cancer sisters, we need to be strong, because we don't know how long this journey is going to last.
Precisely.
And I keep saying, Eric, stage 1 doesn't mean that's easy. Sometimes, because it depends of each person's personality, they can be more affected than a person with stage 4. And stage 4 doesn't mean that we are dying. Stage 4 doesn't mean we need to look like a skeleton, because some people, sometimes when we were saving money, raising money for some people, they will ask me, why we are raising money for that person, and you say it's in stage 4 and that person look better than me. So we don't expect the stage 4 patient to look very bad. I'm stage 4 and
You look
I
well.
look okay.
You look
I
fantastic.
look okay, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of people sometimes they say, you look well, and say something that we were talking some days ago about ghosted, we said. Sometimes, Eric, when a person has cancer, it's painful to see that your best friends will not call you anymore. Some of them.
Wow.
It's called ghosted.
Yeah, when they ghost somebody.
Ghost somebody, yes, because, and we don't blame them. Sometimes it's because they don't know what to say. They may think that they will hurt you more, and they may think sometimes that cancer is contagious. Not only here in my country, in his country. It doesn't matter in what country. In first world countries, there are people that still think that cancer is contagious, and it's not. So, and some cancer patients get really depressed because their best friends and even family, they don't understand. Some of my extended family, or some of my family don't understand when I tell them I cannot drive long distances anymore because I may need to use the bathroom,
Right.
I get dizzy, or it makes me tired. I'm dealing now what is called fatigue.
Chronic fatigue.
Chronic fatigue. And chronic fatigue is simply tiredness that doesn't go away even if you rest, even you sleep, you are still tired. So I cannot drive long distances. So sometimes some of my family tells me, you look okay, why you cannot take parents here or there? So that's why I keep telling patients who are dealing with cancer right now, we need to learn how to say no. That was so difficult for me because I always try to do my best to do everything. We need to learn how to be patient with ourselves, to accept the new us, and we need to accept help. That was also so difficult for me. And just a little thing I want to add, when people ask me, how can I help a patient with cancer? The first thing that I will tell them is, please smile. Because a simple smile will lighten a day of anybody. Mm-hmm. If you see a person in the street and with a serious face, but if you see a person that is smile at you, even if it's a stranger, your day will be better. So smile to anybody you see, especially to a cancer patient. You don't need to talk, just smile, even if it's your family or not, because I call family hard family. Sometimes strangers and friends do better than family. So family doesn't matter. Smile, be empathetic. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to say, because sometimes people are waiting to help, and that's something I needed to learn so much. I love to give, but it was so difficult for me to accept, because I feel that I'm taking people's time and space. But somebody told me, no. A good friend of mine told me, just lean back and we will feel hurt if we don't help you. So my message is, if you have a friend who is going through cancer, don't ghost that person. It's the time that that person will need you the most. Smile and help as much as you can.
You all are giving some excellent advice here, and we need to have more programs like these, because people really need to be educated. Now, both Dr. Badalis and you, Dr. Estienne, when you just spoke, you all stressed some very important things there, especially with regards to that support system. Mm-hmm. And we here in Nevis live in a very small society. And as you rightly said, Dr. Estienne, sometimes I feel like we are losing that closeness that we once had, where people genuinely care for each other and genuinely look out for each other. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we can get back there, because as I said, we are very small, 36 square miles, 15,000 people. And cases like these should open people's eyes to realize that, listen, we ought to be living in more unity and more love. I mean, there's so many people here on Little Nevis who wake up every day just to make people's lives miserable. And it's so unfortunate. Yeah. There's some people who go on Facebook every day just to defame people and just to try to make people's lives miserable. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you are both of you are highlighting the fact that this is not the way to go, especially when we have so many persons coming down now with cancer and so many other diseases. We ought to be living closer to each other. We ought to be there to support them. That support system ought to be there. Mm-hmm. And of course, Dr. Badalis, this cancer has changed your life entirely.
Exactly.
It has changed your life entirely. How do you look at life now? How does it change your life in terms of even your eating?
Well, I think coming from Peru and having a father who is also in health, and we planted a lot of stuff, and even here in Nevis, we planted a lot of cucumbers, pumpkins. We love to be on our garden. And I think I ate as healthy as I could, and having my Mama John, my pastor's wife, also teaching me how to do some local stuff. I think I ate the best possible, and after the cancer word came in my in the history of my family, I try my best to even consume more local things like ginger, moringa, because it's not that it's going to cure cancer, but it helps us to boost the immune system, because it's very important also for our brothers and sisters to know that 1 out of 2 persons who live up to the age of 80 will have some type of cancer in their life. And 1 out of 8 persons, females, will get a breast cancer diagnosis. So cancer is common, Eric. It's common, and sometimes we don't talk about it because just the word make us scared.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
but it's very common. And what is sad is a lot of people are scared to talk because still, as we were talking, none of us want to feel the pityness of others. We don't want that. But at the same time, there is beauty in sharing. I love to hear stories that will give me hope. And as my husband was saying, and I needed help of a psychologist at one point. I needed to accept that I was depressed at one point, because those medications that I have been having on and off, one of the side effects, Eric, is depression and even suicidal thoughts. And I wrote in the last piece that I wrote recently that it happened to me. I have twice thoughts came to me, and I knew it was not me, because who I am to take my own life? Only the Lord knows when, where, and how. That's why, well, I heard very happy that there is a psychologist on island now that opened a place.
Yes.
So I'm very happy. At that point, we have a unit, a psychiatric unit, but it's good to have a psychologist on island, because as it affects our physical body, it's even worse how it affects our soul, our psychologically. So thank God I'm in a place where I have a psychologist that I can call when I feel down. I needed to accept that I needed help. And again, I will tell you, who are a very loving and caring person that I know for years now, that sometimes you don't need to be a doctor, a psychologist. You don't need to be a politician. Churches play a huge role here in our island, and you as a person, just being there for somebody, a hug, a word of encouragement, being you will help somebody that you don't even know, that maybe you are meeting the first time.
Precisely.
And as you said, it's much needed. Life is so unpredictable. And again, cancer doesn't say, oh, you are important, you did good, you have money, you have this. No, nobody knows. And life doesn't matter how much money you have, from what party you are like. Life is so short, and we don't know what color of skin. We don't, nothing matters. When it comes, and we are all humans, and we all have breasts. Men have breasts. Any part of our body can get cancerous. So life is so short and unpredictable that I really hope we use this time, this precious time we have, to love each other, to encourage each other, to say I love to your partner more, to your friends, and don't lose time. And don't lose time, and examine yourself. We were going around the island, not only this time, for years, trying to tell our brothers and sisters the importance, Eric, of self-breast examination, especially in places like this. We didn't have a mammogram machine for years.
Yes.
We had one at the office. Now it's not functioning. Now we have a mammogram machine at the hospital.
Yes.
So, but still, because we don't go to the doctor every month.
Some people are scared to go to the doctor.
Yes, and unfortunately, it's not common that the doctor will examine your breast or will do a vaginal examination. It's only each man who needs to know how the breast, we're talking about breast this time, look like. So if there are any changes in the skin, and we need to learn self-breast examination, because in places where there are not mammogram, and even if you don't want to go, these hands can save your life, because it's not me saying it, the 80% of cases of persons with cancer, it was the patient who felt something.
Okay.
So it's still the best way for us to know what a normal breast look like, and to feel if there are changes. I did it myself. My husband went to the hospital at 4 in the morning, Eric.
Yes.
And I always say that was the Lord calling me to wake me up to start touching my breast. So I started watching at some news. I started doing my breast self-examination. I'm doing the way we supposed to do it. And I felt a lump. I waited until he was back, around 6. And I told him, as a doctor, can you feel this? I think there's a lump. That's what he was saying. I was suspicious, but I wanted, like any other woman, to think it's just a lump and it's benign. Because again, at 80% again, 80% is they are benign. They are not cancerous. But I know I needed to get checked. So we just bought that mammogram machine with all our savings. And I was the 5th patient and the first positive case.
Wow.
So I always think that machine helped me.
Yes.
To
because
know.
of that machine, why you're here now.
Yes. So that is what I wanted to say. Let's live the best we can every day, because every day is a blessing given by the Lord.
Precisely. Now, Doctor, I was going to ask you a question. Someone seems to be holding. Let's take this call. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark. Okay, that person left. Caller, could you call back, please? I was going to ask you a question, Dr. Vidales. If at some point, sometimes you feel like giving up, but you already answered, because you said suicidal thoughts came as well. So, Dr. Essien, when you have persons who have breast cancer or any other type of cancer, any other terminal illness, and they give up, can you blame them if they don't have that support?
No, I mean, there's no room for blaming. Seriously, you can't, because we don't know the individual strength or lack thereof of each person, and the other side of the coin is what is available. What is available to the individual in society? As most people know by now, we moved to Europe, and I was very, very blessed to go through some retraining in terms of the medical practice, and got involved in psychiatry for some months, and it's amazing to see what can be made available to people who are suffering, regardless of what the cause is. But it's very easy to downplay a lot of the symptoms, especially when it comes to mental health. A lot of symptoms that persons may feel, but making sure that there's a safety net for them, because each life is precious. Each life is precious, and it's because of certain situations that might push somebody to maybe thinking a little differently.
All right, we do have a call online. I was just about to open the lines. Caller, good evening. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Evelyn.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, and good evening to my namesake, and good evening also to my brother and sister in Christ.
Good evening.
It's a wonderful thing. I was watching cricket and I said, "Oh, man, today's on the mark." And when I look and I see them,
Yeah, listen to the phone, yeah, and go ahead. Mhm. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
I
Listen
was
to the
saying-
phone, yes.
I was listening. Watching the cricket, but then I
Yes.
said tonight it's on the mark. But when I
Yes.
turn, I see my sister and brother talking about cancer,
Yes.
and I say I forgot about cricket, so listening to them.
I'm happy you're doing that.
But they're doing this is a wonderful job. But then you see, as she mentioned one thing. She mentioned one thing that you see when you come on family, and when you expect family to support you in your sickness, going through your sickness, they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
When you expect friends who support you also, going through whatever you are going through, they is not there. So that's why I tell my children, you want to know who your friends are when you're sick or when you're in trouble. But we have a good friend tell us he never leave us, not forsake us.
Right.
You know, he said he will be with us until the end. Not no fake friend.
Right.
But he's the real one, and only he, because he could take away this sickness and disease and things. But then when he takes them away from us, we ain't gonna remember him. So that's why he said his grace is sufficient for us. And so each time we get feel sick and we get a pain, call upon God. So this is the time we need this little island and the whole in a sense that we need to call upon God now, because our sickness are going to come in. So just like to encourage them to spread the news, encourage someone. Maybe everyone might listen, but somebody can take heed.
Of course.
So you have a blessed evening.
Thank you so very much. And at this point in time, I was about to open the lines for anyone who might be listening, who might want to call in and ask Dr. Badalis, Dr. Estienne, any question regarding cancer, regarding her experience. She is here now. We've been here since 8 o'clock, and we have been talking about her experience since 2012. It's been a long journey. And so if there's anyone out there who is interested in calling in and asking any question, please feel free to do so. Our numbers are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. So you can feel free. We're going to continue our discussion and our conversation, but you can feel free to interrupt us at any time to call in and ask your question. Of course, as I did indicate, this is a show when you can call as well. So we do have another caller line. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Evelyn.
Yes, good evening.
Oh. Dr. Essian, a question for you, please. I have the tingling in my fingers as well. I'm a cancer patient. I started my journey in 2022. I had 21 chemo here in St. Kitts. And then I went over to Jamaica and I did the 21 radiation. But of late I notice I have in my toes a little tingling, and sometimes when I walk I feel like a staggering. Is that one of the side effects of the medication as well?
Yes, thank you for calling and thank you for sharing. That's one of the side effects that usually chemotherapy can give. That's called peripheric neuropathy. But I will advise you to check on your vitamin B levels, because sometimes when there is a lack of vitamin B, it can also give the same, because we need to remember, sister, that even if we have cancer and even if we had all those treatments, sometimes we can get other stuff like anybody else. So sometimes a lack of vitamin B can produce the same symptoms. So usually those that peripheric neuropathy will come and go. So what helps a lot sometimes is just to try your best to continue eating healthy, exercising. Exercise is so important, because when we move our body, we are bringing oxygen, we are bringing more blood supply to those organs. The feet or hands can get that affected. In few cases, it can stay for a long time, but most likely it will go away. But please try to be sure that you are checking your B12 levels and everything, because sometimes we can get anemia when our body is not when the immune system is down. So that will be my advice, and I really, really hope that you feel better soon.
Then
Yeah, continue.
in walking, as I tell you, in walking, sometimes I feel like a staggering. And I notice sometimes I'm not walking in a straight line.
Yeah, just comment here from me. Whatever symptom you might be feeling, again, it may be related to the treatment you've been using, okay, or the effect of the radiotherapy. I don't know how long or recent that was, but what I wanted to add here was
I started it in 2022.
Right, but nevertheless, it's
and then I had the chemo.
Yeah, but nevertheless,
yes, I went to Jamaica.
It's important.
Radiation.
Just a minute, please. It's important. It's extremely important that you have, because remember, these things, it's not, unfortunately, it's not a one-off thing. So it's important for you to have a contact person here. If you're here in the Federation, you have somebody that you could approach that has knowledge of your history and have knowledge of your treatments, so that they can advise you even better as to what you should do, or what tests you need to take. This is one of the Eric. This is one of the difficulties of receiving treatment in diverse parts, okay, of the Caribbean and or even the hemisphere, because you're living in one country and you're going to different places to get your treatment, and it's hard for those places to communicate and share that information. So most patients might not be aware that they have to walk essentially with a physical file of their medical history, so that their local doctor, their local family doctor, is the one that is the point person that can now help them direct. And okay, you're having these things, let's check it out. Basic test comes, you do it. If they find something, they could deal with it. If not, they would refer you now to the a specialist that can deal with such things, especially if it's related to your cancer treatment. So we do have an oncologist in the Federation, or oncologists, I beg your pardon, in the Federation, based at JNF. But these are persons that I would have hoped that you would have had some contact with. Yes, go ahead, please.
I have my oncologist is Dr. Leon. She's in Pinkett.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the person you should try and contact, because they have to know that what you're going through. And these things, they can, as Jessica mentioned, they can, may show up and disappear. But again, you don't want to let it linger. You want to have something, some form of help to at least mitigate some of your symptoms.
Yes, sister, and let me add this. Unfortunately, some side effects, some side effects can appear just after a treatment, but some side effects appear maybe a month after.
Oh, months after.
Yeah, a month or months after. So, and as my husband was saying, it's important to have a doctor here, so who will understand. And if something is getting worse and the person is under a specific treatment, sometimes the treatment need to be delayed. Because, so so I will tell you, sister, it's important that you find a local doctor, a general practitioner, so can deal also with other stuff that may be giving you those symptoms. And I just want to tell the first caller, thank you so much for those words of encouragement. Thank you. And
Thank you very much, caller.
when we were talking about those suicidal thoughts, I want to say that those are side effects of the medications. So I am a Christian, and I know that it's the Lord who knows, as I said before, when and where, and it's my faith, because there's no prescription. There are no prescription for health, for faith and hope. So it's my faith who has brought me this far, my faith in my Lord, and I thank that caller for her words of encouragement.
Fantastic. Now, we're seeing a lot of late, a lot of breast cancer patients in Nevis, in the Federation, I guess probably regionally, worldwide as well. And not only breast cancer, all different types of cancers. Of course, the focus tonight is on breast cancer, right? Persons who are listening, I'm sure they might be curious. Is there something women can do to prevent breast cancer from coming on? You all have, I'm sure you all would have done a lot of research since you got sick, Dr. Badales. Is there anything that people can do to prevent breast cancer?
I can. Let's start with this. As I said, cancer is considered essentially, is a collection of diseases that behave in a chronic fashion. So that means it's not just one-off. It's going to continue one way or the other. And the very, very interesting thing is that all of us, in all our bodies, our bodies are constantly fighting off, thanks to our immune systems, fighting off the formation of cancer every single minute, because there are, in different parts of our body, cells that decide. Nobody really knows the exact mechanism for this, but there are cells that just start growing, and the loss of control, because that's what our body does. Any tissue or organ can develop and grow. The tissue, the cells making up that tissue would grow. They have essentially a lifespan like everything else, and they will die off, and that's the way of controlling and regenerating. But sometimes that control is lost, and this is where these cells now overgrow and develop into a tumor, and the body becomes unable to deal with this without any external help, which is where the health sciences come in, and especially cancer care. But every single minute, our bodies are fighting off the formation of cancerous cells. Okay, that's a very beautiful thing in medical sciences, and those who've done this research in cancer, as they have made us aware of. And so, coming down to your question, how do you prevent this? If this is essentially a function, it's not a wanted function, but it's a function of our bodies, and occasionally it would go beyond, and then we have a disease that's manifested. And when speaking of breast cancer, how can you prevent it? We'll give you an example, a very famous example. The American actress Angelina Jolie. Her mother had a very aggressive form of breast cancer, and ovaries as well, right? So she did this genetic test, which is available, where people suspect, because of the reoccurrence, the appearance of certain forms of cancer in the family line, then you could or should do this genetic test to at least see if you have the risk of this. And in her case, that test, which we commonly call BRCA, BRCA gene testing. It showed up, came up positive for her. So what did she do? How do you prevent this gene from manifesting itself sometime in your life?
Right.
Right? You know you have it, and you know the chances of it manifesting itself is going to be very, very high. So how do you prevent that? She took off the organs.
Yeah.
All right? She took off her organs.
Mastectomy and oophorectomy,
Right.
breast and ovaries.
So, I mean, that is the very radical thing to do. But if you're talking about how do I prevent this, that's one way of preventing. Other than that, there's no specific thing that you could do to prevent it, except mitigate. And always remember this phrase, which we've used a lot in healthcare. I'm pretty sure most people in the Federation have heard of it, which is early prevention saves lives. All right? Because early detection, sorry.
Yes,
prevention,
yes.
which is prevention. Early detection saves lives. Which is important because there are many types of cancers. If you think of any organ in our bodies, you can develop cancer in that organ. Not all are detectable. Not all are detectable until it's too late. All right. Not all can be screened for. Okay, and then there are, again, very few that you could actually do a regular screening for, at least to pick it up at the earliest enough stage so that you can deal with it and essentially either cure it by physically removing it or blasting it with radiation or treating it with chemotherapy. So that is the whole objective of cancer care, to pick up these things as early as possible, regardless of what organ has been affected, and of course, treating it one way or the other. And so those few cancers that can be screened for, remember, screening is not just, let me get a full body scan. That's
Right.
not going to do anything. All right? But screening involves using a method that could be used on the largest number of persons in a cheap and repetitive form. Okay? So, for example, the prevention of cervical cancer. So it involves, very importantly, the application of a vaccine right from the young ages, those school-age children, and the screening in those sexually active women through our pap smear program and HPV screening programs. So those are relatively cheap things to do, and you could do it again and again, and of course the results have shown themselves at least over the last 2 decades that 2 decades? Yes. Over the last 2 decades that, the vaccine program is working against HPV vaccine, against HPV virus, which the high-risk viruses are known to produce, to be the causal agents for cervical cancer. And so if you use the vaccine, you screen, you reduce over time significantly the number of persons that could be affected. So cervical cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, colon. So those are cancers that we can screen for. They are the most common ones that we can screen for easily. Other cancers, very difficult to do.
Dr. Estienne, and well, both of you any one of you can chime in here. A lot of the times here in Nevis, a lot of the times people, okay, let's hold that thought. We have a call online. Good evening, caller. You're live on the mark. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, Eric. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
I'm just want to say to Dr. Estienne, both of them,
Good evening.
that
Good evening.
good evening, Eric.
Yes. Mhm.
I just want to say to Dr. Estienne, both of them, to continue the fight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know what they're going through, and I know because I went through it already, and I know what it is, and both of them know me, because I lost my wife to cancer,
So sorry to hear.
and I know what they're going through. What I have to say to them is surround yourself around positive people who are going to bring positive words,
Right.
not negative, because some people just going to bring negative, and that even could make it worse.
Thank you.
Because, like I said, I've been through it already,
Yeah.
and I know what it is. And well, Jessica know me well because both her and Ruby and my wife went to Cuba together.
I recognize your voice.
And it's just unfortunate she's still here to tell the story.
Yeah.
But Ruby and my wife is gone. But I just want to tell her to stay and surround yourself by people who are going to bring positive words and who are going to look and support her through all of this. Because, like I said, I've been through it, and I had to fight of my wife surviving cancer, and I still have to fight the negative words and the negative people who are going to say so many things about it. So all I have to say to her, to continue fight and continue to surround yourself with people who are going to bring a word of positive, not negative. You know,
you.
and it's not easy, and I know. And what else I have to say to the listening public? Only detection saved life, because not only I lost my wife to cancer, but my mother is a breast cancer survivor for 24 years now,
You see it?
and she is still alive, and she never had to do any kind of treatment or anything, and she's surviving breast cancer because she had a holy and seed holy, and she do the operation holy, and she can say that she's surviving breast cancer. So, Dr. Estienne and Mr. Estienne, I just want to say thank you to both of you for all what you have done for me during that time of going through all what you are going through now. You know, you was there, both of you, and you give me talk to me and give me positive word.
Yeah.
You're only 2 out of 2 who give me that positive words and encouragement
Right.
that could move on. And all I can say that to both of you, to surround yourself around people who are going to come and give you positive thinking and positive thoughts and positive words, not negative, because you're only going to make it worse.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us contribute in a positive manner to your life, regardless of the
Because, like I
circumstances.
said, you all was there from the beginning
Right.
until the end of my wife leave. But like I said, I know what it is, and I went through all of it, and I know the feeling
Absolutely.
of it. So I will come to visit you sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
You're always welcome.
All right. Good.
All right. Thank you very much, caller.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you so very, very much for that wonderful call. And just before that caller called in, I was going to ask a question, because there's been a lot of cancer recently, not only breast cancer, but other cancers. And there is this notion that a lot of people are thinking that a lot of these cancers is because of what we are eating. How scientific is that?
Oh yeah, that's
Contributes.
a huge topic, and yeah, we could stay on it forever. Yeah, but well, nutrition plays a huge role in just our general well-being. Okay, and not just nutrition, but good nutrition plays this role in our well-being. And if we want to try and mitigate the effects of cancer developing in our bodies, and or even progressing further, if once it's been established that it's there, the nutrition is a cornerstone to just the holistic treatment.
Definitely.
All right. So yes, people recognize, even without any medical knowledge, they do recognize that I think if we eat something that we know that's been grown in the ground, and we see it, we use our hands to do it and all that stuff, that should be a little bit healthier than something that had to be preserved one way or the other, and probably was plucked out, if we are going to talk about plant products, plucked out from the ground some months before, and it's getting to us now, maybe even a year later. All right. But in what form was it preserved? So there's a lot going on in both the scientific and health sphere when it comes to processed foods, right?
Processed.
Because foods can be processed in a pretty good way to make it. That's the objective of processing foods, to make them last. All right, but you want them to last long enough to reach the person, because not all of us live close to a farm. All right, so for that food to get to us in a reasonably
short space of time, good quality, with all the nutrients available still, sometimes it has to preserve one way or the other. So it could be either by freezing, or maybe plucking them just before they're ripe, and so on and so forth. But of course, when we start now looking at using other artificial means of preserving foods, which may involve injecting certain chemicals, using certain types of to augment the yield that we are getting from the ground. Yes.
All right. Then we are putting ourselves in danger of consuming those same chemicals in one way or the other, which may have very detrimental effects on our health. And I know that's a big discussion, a topic of discussion in the world right now. And yes, even after establishing the presence of cancer, it's important to now analyze what one is consuming in a very complete fashion. There are many things that we probably never thought of. Yeah, I mean, you want to take a soda, you want to have a drink of soda. It's a hot summer in Nevis right now. So a nice cool drink would help you, right? But our go-to drink here in the islands are probably lemonade or ginger beer or something like
Coconut.
that. That would be the best one. But the coconut water is pretty good, because but I'm touching on the other ones,
Right.
that we have to now add a little sweetener to it, right? And of course, that sweetener comes with consequences.
Yes.
All right. King sugar has been very detrimental to human health over the centuries, and we recognize that its presence beyond certain levels in our bodies, when we ingest it, can cause very negative, not just diabetes, but it also can help to accelerate certain development of unwanted cell growth, and so on and so forth. So we would definitely consider reducing the intake of certain food groups that are unnecessary, because we want to keep all the, I would say, negative things, let's say fats, for example, out of our systems, and just for our general health. And of course, anything that would boost our immune system is always welcome, not in excess. I mean, there are many things out there that are really not, they're just made up. All right, but just any most things that are used have been proven over time to help. Those are things that would be encouraged. We know, for example, our number one soursop,
Yes.
for example. But that does, it just helps your immune system. It helps, it boosts, as people like say, it boosts your immune system. But
Right.
in essence, what it helps, it just helps it tick along. And there are many things that you could do. We live in a here in St. Kitts Nevis, in a part of the world where you get sunshine 12 months of the year.
Yes.
And that is so important for many things, many biochemical and physiological functions in our bodies. So that is extremely important. We live in a quiet part of the world as well. We could go for a little stroll now
That's
once in
right.
a while. So and we don't have to be overstressed as in many parts of the world.
Can I add something?
Sure, yes.
As important as it's our nutrition, like our last caller was saying, it's also important to be surrounded by positive people.
Yes.
So we need to identify the helpers, and we cannot get stuck with negative people. And I will tell my cancer sisters, as important as it is a good lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, not to drink, not to smoke, because smoke is so linked to lung cancer.
Yes.
And there's stuff that we can do to a certain point prevent cancer. Our main thing today is not to scare people, because as we said before, 80% of the time whatever we discover will not be cancerous, but is to tell whoever is listening to get accustomed to check themselves. And as we were talking here, family is important, and the psychological part, not only when we have cancer, but at any time, is so important. So sometimes we may not be nice to people because we are all human beings, but as important as it is for everybody, especially for a person dealing with so many things, is vital to get helpers, or at least positive people. It's true, sometimes some of my patients, I heard, oh, that person died. Even before they die, it happened to me. I heard that I was dead, but I'm here. So, but what I usually do, I try to not to listen to those negative, just block it, and just surround myself.
Yes.
And as one of the callers was saying too, even if we're left with nobody, because we can have our family, our close family, but we are not with them at all times. But who never abandoned us, Eric, is our Lord. And as long as I have my Lord, I don't feel alone. Is He the best physician, the only physician? That's why I, again and again, is faith. Is faith, and knowing that, as I keep saying, that cancer may kill me that day, and maybe something else, but I'm alive today. And fear is something that all of us have, but bravery and strength is something that we choose. And I have chosen for a long time to live as full as I can, and to give and to share. So with the hope that somebody, that I will be, I will help somebody, as so many have been helping me all the time. Because as I said before, cancer will never ever catch me dying. I want to be living as much as I can, for as long as I can.
So in essence, because you have survived it for 13 years, I'm sure a lot of persons, when they get the news that they have cancer, some people want to give up at the same time. When somebody gets the news that they have cancer, is that a death sentence?
No, I am happy to say that I may be the first generation of persons dealing with stage 4 cancer, and I am in many ways living to my fullest. That diagnosis is not easy at all, and sadly, my husband and I, we need to find courage to tell that to many persons, and it's not easy, but it's not a death sentence, but unfortunately we never know how each journey will be. Again, my husband was talking about Angelina Jolie and the genetic part, but only 5 to 10% is genetic. BRCA is the most common gene, but I have one BRCA1, but not the entire mutation, but I have 2 others that they are kind of newly discovered. It's called ATM and P10. So I have those 2 positive. So I need to be telling my daughter to check herself often and to have a mammogram when she reaches certain age more often. So I trust in my God. That's the first. That's my main trust in Him. But as a doctor, I believe in science, and I am hoping that the cure of cancer, any type of cancer, is just in the corner. And maybe my cure will be coming soon. We just need to keep praying for each other and help each other and lift each other.
Of course.
Yeah, I just wanted to add there that, as Jessica mentioned, it's amazing, seriously amazing how far science has come.
Yes.
In terms of detection, treatment, and in some cases even cure. So much so that many of these things, which would have been, as you asked, but they definitely would have been a death sentence.
It's not anymore.
Is not anymore.
Amen.
If we think back, 1960s, early 1970s, leukemia in children, that was a death sentence. They were going to die. Or if those of us who remember the effects of polio, right? All right, that was a death sentence. But science has chugged along and tried to keep pace with the appearance of all these diseases, with all the research and all these things, so that we are getting better and better medication treatments. Many in the pipeline when it comes to cancer care, that has made the prolonging of life with reasonable quality a reality, rather than something that would have been a pipe dream. And we have to seriously thank all the scientists involved in making all this possible, and that is to say that there is hope. There is definitely hope. As Jessica mentioned, the cure might be around the corner. They're working on all sorts of cancer vaccines for many types of cancers that are known to us. They're working on it, and some have been very successful. Like I mentioned, the HPV vaccine, in reducing the occurrence of cervical cancer, or even a vaccine against a certain form of lung cancer, which the Cubans were very instrumental in bringing into the world. So science is evolving and making sure that treatment is getting better and more affordable, available, regardless of the initial extreme high costs. But over time, these will definitely come down, and we will live better, because we are in a world in which we are exposed to a lot of nocive agents and so on. But it's just a matter of modifying our lifestyles and maybe toning it down a little bit more, avoiding certain things, and avoiding certain environments and such. But there is hope.
We do have a call online. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark. Okay, that caller left. Caller, could you call back, please? Dr. Badalis, I know. Okay, we do have caller. Good evening. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening.
Yes, how you doing?
Good, good. Courage, sister and brother. Do not stumble, though your path be dark at night. There is a star to guide the humble. Trust in God and just do what's right. Dr. Badelis, you and Dr. Estian, it's so good to hear you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Jennifer Freeman.
Oh, Miss Freeman.
And both of you have been my doctors. Dr. Estian,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad to know that, the two of you are holding strong together.
Thank you.
Because sometimes things happen in a family and, the
Yes.
little issues and the big issues like illness and so come and the separation and the discouragement and all that. But God is good.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that in spite of everything, you trust in God, and that's the most important thing,
Yes, ma'am.
Because at the end of the day, that is what will continue to keep you. Whether you depart first, he go first, maybe the two of you go together, who knows?
Exactly.
But whatever
Exactly.
it is, you just continue to trust in God. I remember you all the time. I wonder about you all. And I want to say, Eve, thank you that night when you just came in from Peru at 4 in the morning when I had to call you, You know what I'm
Thank
talking
you.
about.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes, ma'am.
God is great. God is great. Continue to trust Him.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Mr. Eric.
much.
Thank you so much for
All
calling.
right.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Now, I was going to ask before the caller called. I know you spoke about the importance of the self-examination, and of course, we know we do have a mammogram machine at the hospital now, thankfully. Are there any real symptoms of breast cancer that women can get?
Yeah, most of the time, different type of cancer are called silent killers. Sometimes cancer will not give you any symptoms,
Right.
and that is what is so difficult. That's why we need to be looking at the mirror. I usually tell my patients, my friends, my family, we look at our faces, we take care of our hair, but we can use some minutes just to check at our breast. Just go and look a little bit down and check if we are noticing any changes in the skin. So sometimes it can be a rash. It's what is called orange.
Port orange,
Port orange
like an
in
orange
French.
peel, like an
Yeah.
orange peel.
So sometimes we can have indentation, can have inverted nipples or nipples that change direction. So we can see some signs. And when we're talking about self-breast examination, it's so easy. You just put your hand behind, and with this hand, using these 3 middle fingers, we start just doing round movements all around our breast. And you told me that we're all live. So it's just going round, using 3 different type of pressure, like a soft pressure, medium pressure, and firm pressure, because sometimes the lumps can be a little bit deeper. And just doing that, we can do it just like that, or in the shower. That will help. Will help with the movements. By doing that, we can get familiar with our body and we can feel the lumps, Eric. And that simple moment in our life, those minutes that we're going to be giving for ourselves, can save our life. As I said, that's how I discovered my lump, and that's what saved my life. So sometimes cancer can give signs. Sometimes you can feel extra tired than usual. We can blame when we have children and we have a hard work, but when something is not going away, or a sign or a symptom, please go and see a health provider. You are the patient, and I'm seeing as a patient. Sometimes as doctors we can say, oh, maybe it's that, maybe it's nothing. But as a patient, if something is there, is not going away, go back, because it's in your body. Okay? And after you have cancer, a lot of changes will happen. And as women, sometimes the loss of even or the thought that we may not be a woman anymore because we are a part of our was amputated. We will lose our hair, and I hope my children, my husband will not mind. I'm having on and off I don't have any hair right now. And I don't mind people seeing me like that, because that's me. And again,
Nothing to be ashamed of.
yes, I will tell anybody who is listening to me, that cancer patient is the same person, with the same feelings,
Same
with the
heart.
same memory, with the same thought, and we just want to have a normal day. We don't want to talk about cancer all the time. We would appreciate a friend to tell us, let's watch a movie. I'm talking on behalf of a lot of my patients that it hurt me to hear, oh, as again, my sister didn't talk to me, or a friend that I love so much is ghosting me, and it hurts. And some women say, my husband, my partner, we don't love me anymore because I don't have my beautiful hair, or I don't have a breast. We are still women, and even taking a womb, and I'm always saying, we are taking a womb, not a vagina. I'm sorry, but we need to be talking about those things.
Of course.
Because we still can have, and sexuality is not only penetration. It's not the penis going in the vagina. Sexuality is more than that. Sexuality is how we move, how we interact with our partner, is a hug, is lighting a candle, and even with stage 4 cancer, we can have a sexual life. My husband usually tells me and tells the patient, always we can do something to get together, because that brings us together as a couple. And I would like my ladies to know, we don't need to feel scared. Life goes on, and we decide, or we have fear, or we have hope and bravery. It's up to us how we live each day with the help of our Lord.
Fantastic. We are running out of time. I have I have so many other things to ask, and I'm sure you have so many other things to say. We have just another 2 minutes to go, and so I just want to give both of you the opportunity to give some closing words. What do you have to say to cancer patients generally? Starting with you, Dr. Badales.
Oh, I will get emotional. I just want to say that these 2 weeks, we still have some days, has been fantastic to see I don't call them patients, I call them my friends, because more than I give to them, they have been giving me to me
Right.
so many good memories, because my best memories are not cancer memories. I'm not defined by a word. I'm more than cancer, and God is bigger than anything. It's so beautiful to walk in Charleston streets, and people stop me and pray with me, and sour sops and mangoes. I'm enjoying so much. This is home. I'm gonna finish how I started. This is home for my daughter, for my son, who is so happy and proud to represent the Federation.
Congratulations to both of you. for that.
Yeah, and I'm going to finish saying, thank you, Nibis. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. Nobody knows. Again, cancer may kill me, but it will never, ever catch me dying. I will continue doing my best
Fantastic.
here or in any place, and keep praying for me.
Good.
I will be praying for my home, Nibis.
Thank you. 30 seconds, Dr. Essien.
Yes, just to remind everybody, we need to encourage one another, all right? We have to try and be there for each other. There's nothing that beats that. No medication, no hospitalization. We have to be there for each other.
Excellent way to end the program. Thank you guys so very
Thank
much.
you
It
so
has
much.
been my pleasure having you here on The Mark, Dr. Jessica Badales Essien and Dr. Essien. We are so happy to have you. The information was so pertinent, very, very important. And I wish you could have gone on a little longer, but the time is up. And so I want to just say thank you on behalf of us here at On The Mark. And of course, those of you who are listening, remember that the show, there's a rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So if you missed it this evening, listen tomorrow. If you listen this evening, listen again tomorrow. Some very, very important information. My guests, I'm so thankful for you. And once again, thank you very much for being here. Want to say good night to all of you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And once again, good night from On The Mark.
Good night.
views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower,